And good morning, friends. Welcome to Here I Stand. Our subjects for today, Joe Rogan, a very popular podcaster, maybe the most popular podcaster out there, and then SOS, Illinois, the sad situation that we are facing as a state. James, I would almost make the statement that Illinois has ceased being a democracy. We are a kleptocracy. We are run by very arrogant politicians, goaded on by special interest groups that have money and influence. And sadly, the Illinois voters have allowed this situation through our own rebellion, blindness, unawareness of what is going on. There are people engaged, but it's not at the level sufficient to stop this. So, and the politicians don't really care. I'll share more about that. So anyway, it's not the happiest news, but we press on. So James, you and your church have been discussing an issue about Joe Rogan, and so what can you do? You want to give some background on him? I'm a little bit familiar with Joe Rogan, but to be honest with you,
you're probably more familiar with him than I am because I don't know much about him. I realized he was the EFC guy, but I forgot he was the Fear Factor guy also.
Oh, really?
He was Fear Factor. That's when he had hair. He was a Fear Factor guy.
Oh.
And they say he's a stand-up comedian. So I saw his bio last night. We talked about his bio last night.
Wasn't he a mixed martial artist also? MMA?
Something like that. But I guess he signed some sort of $100 million
contract with Spotify.
Spotify, right?
Yeah.
So he has the number one podcast in America. I'm told, as of last night, our researcher told us he has $190 million downloads per month. 190 million. That was the figure, downloads per month. So because he is such an influential guy, we something came up that he was very critical of Christianity.
Interesting.
And so just want to play this. Are we getting into it now, right?
Yep, let's do that now. Yep,
let's get into it now. Joe Rogan, then we'll go back to the wonderful state of Illinois.
Yep.
But here's Joe Rogan.
And you don't have any proof at all. Well, you're entering into this weird world where you don't pay attention to you. You're entering into this weird world where you ignore certain aspects of things because you've decided what is and what isn't. That's not thinking. That's not thinking. That's like it's convenient cookie holder placement of ideas. It's not thinking. Because if you're thinking, you can't accept it. If you're thinking, you go, wait, what? He came back from the dead? Has anybody ever done that? 3 days? Came back from the dead. I don't think you can do that. I mean, that's what people would do normally.
All right.
Wow. So there you have him criticizing Christians for believing in the resurrection. Has anyone done that? No, Joe, that's the whole point, dude. He is unique. And so what he does is he builds up the straw man. And he says, well, show me the studies. Show me the hardcore proof that Jesus did these miraculous things. And so if you want, you can go on the same channel, the podcast we did last night. And we went over extra biblical text that affirms what the scriptures say. We go over textual, a little bit of just how does the Bible match up with other works of antiquity. Here it is. No one questions the Trojan War, Homer's Iliad, right? Look at it. Earliest copy is 500 years after the event supposedly took place, and that's the closest one, 643 copies of Homer's Iliad. Look at all the other works, Plato, Aristotle, Caesar. No one questions whether or not Caesar went into Gaul and conquered on his way to become an emperor of Rome. No one questions that. No one questions that. 10 copies. And the earliest manuscripts we have is approximately 1,000 years after the events took place. Look at the New Testament. There is no comparison.
Yeah.
When you want to see whether or not something of antiquity, historical document, and Christians should never, ever, ever concede the fact that the Bible is an historical document.
Right.
It's never been proven wrong. Every archaeological dig, every time something new is dug up from the ground, it affirms that the Bible is what we thought it was, real. And so I'm never for conceding that the Bible is a historical document to be trusted. But even the extra biblical documents that we do have confirms and corresponds with the scriptures, from Livy to Tacitus to Josephus to Pliny of the Younger, all these guys writing documents to the Roman emperor or to other Roman officials, confirming that yes, this man Jesus lived in Judea, died under the proconsul of Pontius Pilate. Now, again, because they're not Christians, he was a magician. He did some supernatural stuff. Okay, and so Joe Rogan, I would love to see if someone to go on his show and present the evidence to Joe Rogan and see whether or not he will at least consider the evidence. Yeah. But
Dan,
go ahead.
Yeah, Dan Wallace, a scholar at I think Dallas Theological Seminary, an expert on textual manuscripts and the like, Greek grammarian. He has presented it as the embarrassment of riches in terms of the New Testament manuscript record. The embarrassment of riches when you compare that is a handy chart. And now some critics point out, well, look at all the differences in those manuscripts. Yes, when you compare the 5,800 plus manuscripts in different languages, different times, there are minor differences, and yet
into, behind, backwards, those types of things, never on a theological.
That's correct. There are no doctrinal issues at stake.
No.
So there are different opinions on which manuscripts are more reliable. Correct. Is it the older? Is it the majority? Is it this or that? There are those questions, but as you say, well, Joe Rogan, he knows his audience. I think you can say. I don't know what motivated him to share that. I'm not familiar enough with him.
Some of our research says he's open-minded on everything except this. For some reason, he is closed-minded when it comes to Christianity, and I know the reason.
Yeah,
for men love darkness rather than light, for their deeds are evil.
Exactly. That gets to the heart of the issue there. And I also think he probably thinks this resonates with his audience.
You think so? Because he's positioning himself as someone with truth. Remember, he goes after CNN. Are you comfortable with your news network telling lies? It's lies. Ivermectin is not this. You guys are lying.
Yeah, maybe I'm misreading the situation. Yeah,
I don't know the guy. I'm telling you, I don't know him that well either. But I know he just was recently in the news. CNN went after him because he took the ivermectin. He hammered CNN for telling lies.
Mm-hmm. No, he is a powerful voice.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we did it on. Yeah.
Right. No, exactly. So it is, I guess we need to pray for his conversion, the opening of his heart and mind to God's truth. That's what he needs is absolute regeneration. Well, our second topic, James, is just the pathetic stuff going on in Illinois. Here's what I'm going to share. This is a fairly left-wing site, James. It's called Capital Facts, capitalfacts.com. and Rich Miller is the blogger, journalist, and it is, if you want to know what's going on in Illinois politically, this is the website that you need to share. Let me bring up, there you can see it. Let me just make that a little larger. So, and I probably should make this font size a little bit bigger. It's a very simple website, which I think is part of the, maybe call it part of the genius of it. So here's one item of note, that the remap is in trouble. The Democrats have been trying to give gerrymandering a new name with their crazy maps, and they're running into problems because not only do their crazy maps try to wipe out Republicans, but then they start getting into the race war. Latinos and African Americans fighting over turf battles, as it were. So, hopefully, as much as I hate the federal government getting into this, maybe in some cases, maybe this is what we need.
And the federal government actually said what? That what they did was so ridiculous?
I believe so, yes. I think there was an appeal made. So that's one issue. Then, here is the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act, 6452 Wednesday night, to alter the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act to shield employers from civil suits if they enforce coronavirus vaccine or testing mandates. So Pritzker's likely going to sign this. It's interesting, it won't take effect until June 1st. So that's sad. And then here, I'm going to scroll down to parental notification of abortion repeal. The House voted 65 or 62 to 51. It's interesting. There are 72 Democrats, James. And
Unbelievable.
So this is a quarter century old law, though it has not been in effect for very long. And this is I like his description of it because he quotes the people. In Illinois, we trust women to make decisions about their bodies. We trust people to control their reproductive health. This is about girls.
Wow, this
girls.
is just...
Then
it's satanic is what it is.
Right. Look at this. Anti-abortion politicians all across the country are seeking to curb our access to abortion for anyone and everyone, Cassidy said during floor debates. They literally want to just force us all to keep every pregnancy determined regardless of what's happening, regardless of the risk to our lives. I mean, that it's just such a lie.
Unbelievable. Can a 14-year-old child get an Advil in school?
No, that's right. And then...
But she can get an abortion.
Yep.
But there's no reason behind this, Kelvin, other than demonic reasoning.
Right.
And there's no other way around it.
Yep. I was just going to see, you see this. Planned Parenthood Illinois is one group supporting the repeal and said this is an especially important step at a time when reproductive rights are under severe attack across the country. Notice it's across the country, so we got to do this in Illinois by passing the Youth Health and Safety Act. Don't you love that? Youth Health and Safety Act. Talk about Orwellian. Illinois has ensured that young people can choose to involve the people they trust in their healthcare decisions and are protected from harmful domestic situations and unnecessary judicial interactions. In short, all Illinoisans, regardless of age, now have the full legal autonomy to make decisions about what's best for their bodies. So this is all driven, I would say, by Planned Parenthood. Now, interestingly, we're going to go after puppy mills or support regulated pet stores and defeat puppy mills. I guess this is a paid advertisement. But anyway, we will get angry about pets, but we will not show much sympathy, will we, James, when it comes to children and there, it's interesting. Fauci's getting some negative press because the NIH sponsored what appears to be horrific research involving dogs and other animals. And my guess, he's going to get more blowback from that than from everything else that's happened. And anyway, that's where we are now. On Tuesday, James, I went down with a pretty good group of Spanish-speaking pastors. Had a great time. And when we first got down there, did a little.
What, Springfield?
This was Springfield. This was Tuesday.
Okay.
Did a little press conference, tried to interact with some legislators. Then we went back for a lunch before we were doing a later press conference, and we got word that it looked like they were not going to call up the vote for repeal, but establish a study committee. And our first response was, praise the Lord. Hey, this is great news. About 10 minutes after that, someone in the group got a text. Nope, sorry, the situation
Yep, that was a head
changed.
fake, Calvin. That was a head fake.
So and then the handwriting, as it were, was on the wall right after that. So we did a press conference, and the press generally very hostile and aggressive. There was the Bishop of Rockford who was getting grilled on denying communion to politicians. I'm not a fan, obviously, of the Roman Church, but I am glad that at least this one bishop is not allowing pro-abortion politicians to come to communion. Anyway, so it's Springfield is a game, I want to call it, and man,
It's a sick game.
you come as outsiders. I ran into my state rep, Mark Walker. I've met him a few times in person. He probably does not remember it. He's getting older. And I asked him, how are you going to vote on parental notification? Oh, it's obvious. I said, well, what's your position? If it should be repealed, it's for the safety of children. And then just walked away, kind of very dismissively. And I called him. I left a message with him and said, you treated me very disrespectfully. These politicians, they work for us.
Calvin.
Oh, no, they don't. Oh, no. But
You're
there's
at a point
an
now,
arrogance.
Calvin. I think we've entered a new realm of politics nowadays that they're not even pretending to represent their people anymore. They can care less.
I think
I think it is a direct result of what happened last year in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
that they can cheat openly
Mm-hmm.
with no repercussions.
Yeah.
So why on earth would I ever care
Yeah.
when your vote's not going to matter anyway?
No, I
And
think you're right,
that
James.
is so dangerous.
Yeah. They have established that they can win.
Yep.
And so, there is an arrogance
Yep.
to anyone that is disagreeing with them. And I was not hostile at all. It wasn't like I was trying to, he was maybe on his way somewhere, but he couldn't spare 20, 30 seconds. That if you can't do that, you know what, you shouldn't be in politics then.
Calvin, you were hostile. You dared question the Lords.
Well, that's true. Yes. No, you're right. Yes.
You questioned their wisdom and authority, Calvin.
Yeah.
See, they're no longer even beholden to us. They're not even trying anymore
No.
to play the game.
No. And
Shut
Illinois,
up. Just listen to us.
as you look at Illinois' population barely growing. Barely grow. I'm almost surprised that it is growing at all, but barely over 10 years. I think it went up, 0.3%. Other states shooting up. And our politicians, it's the bad weather in Illinois, as one of the excuses that I've heard. People are moving to a better weather states. Oh, like Indiana has better weather than Illinois. I didn't know that. Iowa has better weather than Illinois, I guess. Now, maybe Tennessee, maybe Florida at some level. People are not, I don't think it's the weather. But abortion.
They know it's not the weather, Calvin.
No, exactly. It's the number of abortions, though, that is far outstripping. And Illinois has become, for the Midwest, the abortion capital for the Midwest. And this new law, or the repeal of the parental notification, now opens the way for sex
How is that even
traffickers
legal?
and other pervert. Yeah.
Calvin, can you perform medical procedures on minors without their parents' permission?
James, this is I've heard reports of this. Children now being given COVID vaccinations without their parents knowing it. Certainly, kids have been handed all sorts of birth control without parents knowing about these things.
This is evil.
It is. This fits.
It's not a medical opinion. This is evil.
Yeah, this fits in with the agenda. We know better than you.
Yeah.
We are the experts.
Even if you are a liberal, Calvin, even if you are a Democrat, Are you that blind to the fact to whereas when the state now tells you what goes in your body, where the state now says that you have no authority over whether or not your 14-year-old child gets an abortion.
Right.
When the state now tells you in so many words, we're going to educate your kid in our schools, it doesn't matter what you think.
Right.
Even if you're a Democrat and a liberal, this is dangerous to give the state this much power.
Right. It is. And remember, in Illinois, if you are a licensed counselor, you cannot persuade a child to leave homosexuality.
Yeah, whatever.
What we are going to see is a child wants to get a sex change, and someone in the school system will start to arrange that, and the parents will not be able to prevent that.
Kelvin?
I believe there are some
Kelvin?
examples of that, but that's going to be next. Is parents
You're gonna do that to the wrong dad?
Yeah, parents are
Somebody's
not
gonna get hurt.
right. Yeah, well, parents. The school system has been the vehicle for a lot of this.
Yeah.
You know, Planned Parenthood sets up clinics in schools, not abortion clinics per se, but they have their own quote health clinics. So this is this is the this is part of the pipeline and agenda that we've been seeing for quite a while there. So
incredible evil unfolding before our very eyes.
Yes, it is.
Incredible evil.
Yes, it is. So this, I'm saddened. There was a poll. I think we talked about this in March. IFI sponsored a poll, other groups, and the majority, my little son here, the majority of Illinois voters were not in favor of repeal when asked. Exactly. And that's the thing.
Did you see the slips? Was it 51,000 against 600 pro, and they did it anyway?
Yeah, no, exactly.
They don't care.
No,
your vote doesn't really matter to us.
No, that's right. So anyway, that's sadly, if you stick around in Illinois, you gotta. I mean, there are no easy solutions to this, but we have to be all the more engaged and in prayer and doing what we can. We're in dark times.
Pastors are now prophets in 750 BC Israel.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, exactly.
The state is godless, and it's provoking God to judgment.
Yes.
And I mean, we could say Illinois, but Calvin, it's all over.
Oh, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not just Illinois. Not just Illinois.
Now, Illinois seems to be trying to lead the way, trying to fight for supremacy in the march to Sodom with California.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we would like to win that race on abortion. And we are now the most, I think, probably, especially after the repeal of this, I don't know how there could be a state that's more radical. No, absolutely no restriction, government support, funding. Now we're just talking about just increasing even more the degree of how radical our policies are. So
this is evil. There's no other way around. This is evil.
Yep.
The state is now evil.
Yep, it is.
They're evil.
It's the tyrannical beast that we see. Well, friends, again, we trust in the Lord, and
yes.
It's a sobering time. We got to press on where we can. Yeah. What else do we do? So unless you feel compelled to leave this state, and I would not blame anybody that determines this is the time to get out. If you can, it's probably the right choice. If you can't, or you feel compelled to stay, then we got to be more active and in our service and witness. So,
and you know what? I'm so blessed and happy that I have gentlemen at my church who have formed an outreach ministry. They're going to take tracts and start going to malls and to be proactive and preaching the gospel.
Amen. Yeah.
To this dying world. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It is. Amen, James. Well, friends, leave us a comment about what you think is going on, what you're doing as a witness in this state, and let's encourage each other to be more bold and on the front lines.
Yep.
God bless. Bye-bye.
God bless.